Hi there!
Hi everyone, my name's Gareth. Oh my god, Megan. You're supposed to... Take two. Hi everyone, my name's Gareth.
Oh, Megan.
And we have just bought ourselves a van. So we've bought a van in order to convert it into a bit of a camper van. We need to actually use it as a bit of a work van, so we're going to have to do a bit of a combination of both. So let's give you a bit of a tour of the van. Right, so what I've done is I've bought myself a Vauxhall Vivaro 2009 long wheelbase, and also it's got a high top. The purpose of getting this van is because I wanted to be able to actually get into car park spaces quite easily. So I did think about getting like a crafter or some sort of long wheelbase livable van, but also need to be practical as well. That was my main purpose, is have it functional, as this is going to be my only vehicle. So let's look at the back. Right, so on this van, we were actually quite lucky. We got carpet fixing on the wall. We've got a bit of a rotating fan. Lights are on the roof, but clearly they're all going to come off. We need to actually see what's underneath this carpet here. In the holes, you can see that there's a bit of insulation already behind there, but my guess is it's not going to be any use. Notice in the flooring, we've got loads of holes. So we already know that one of their jobs is going to have to be to rip up the whole floor. So you'll notice we've got some insulation, a bit of ahead of the game, but we thought we could actually get it whilst we can and store it in the garage, so when it actually comes to insulating the floor, we've got it ready to go.
All I'm going to say is thank God for YouTube videos, which have inspired us massively as to what to do, because we have never done this before, ever. So this will be interesting. Yep. Let's hope the people in those videos we watch actually, know what they're doing, I suppose. I love it, and I love the fact you can stand up with it. It's brilliant. I love the fact you got the shelf up here. I don't know if you notice, I've got a real thing about shelves and extra storage, and I just love the fact you got a little storage space there.
Cool.
Love it.
Let's have a look at a little look in the front. Right, so one of the things that I was really looking for was a van that had air conditioning. My last vehicle didn't have air conditioning. Oh my god.
That's why you kept wanting to go in my car when we went away.
Yeah, so it was so hot, so hot. So I had to make sure adamantly that I had air conditioning in order to have a much more pleasant drive, particularly in countries where it actually gets a little bit warm, because we are planning to actually take this abroad and also all around the country. We're big adventurers. We love our mountain bike, we love our canoeing, we love everything possible.
Swimming, but the van's it's not going to go in the water, unfortunately. But aside from that, it can go everywhere else.
That's it. So that was one of the main features. We also got this this thing here, which is a reversing
really
sensor
cool.
and
It's obviously not
camera.
on, but it's good having this little extendable arm, isn't it, on this? No, but it's brilliant. I love the fact it's a camera. It's perfect for people like me.
Yeah, so
You can't reverse.
There's a camera set up on the back of the van, so it actually does give us a good view.
And just to say, I'm not allowed to drive. My reversing is terribly good. Yeah. Hi. Molly Moo, the neighbour's cat. I know. You came to see our van. What's he up to?
Just checking out the light to see how it's mounted. Nothing's ever easy.
No, I know. So there's the roof. I'm on the top of the world. I'm having far too much fun with the GoPro. Yoo-hoo! Hello! What are we doing now?
Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is we want to take off all these panels. I don't know actually what's going to be underneath. Oh, there we go. Dodgy. Take off these panels because there is some insulation behind there, but let's say I don't know what it is, but also what's actually behind it. So I want to take all the panels off, all these brackets that has been shaped already to the van because it's wasting so much space. So I want to get all these off, all the ceiling off, because we do want to insulate it properly. We want to seal it all in. We want to make it watertight. So that's going to be one of our biggest jobs, is just to kind of strip apart the walls and also the floor as well, because I want to really look at that floor because there's so many holes, so it could be quite a bit of rust.
We're going to find a whole mice nest under here, aren't we?
Hopefully not. So what we're going to do is just do a little bit of a time-lapse video of what we find.
Just pulled one of the panels off. Look at all the fluff. It's good seeing some of the inside of the van now.
Yeah.
We're taking the van's fur away. He's going to be cold and naked now. Cold and naked. Nearly got the boards off. That's it, Gareth, bash it good. Oh, it does break easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Plastic, I think.
Wow. There you go. There's a little mouse hole. Little mice have their own power supply.
How many other screws have we got?
Screws.
Randomly.
Random screws. One there. One there.
Where? Oh yeah.
Little bugger.
You got the drill?
Nope. I am useless. Oh look, drill. Sorry, it's because the light shine, I look evil. See, we stripped a load of stuff. There's loads of wires, like a ridiculous amount, because it was a ex-police camera van. So obviously this is when everything was all rigged. There's even like a GPS thing hanging up here. No, all of it's inactive pretty much, so we're not really going to need all the wiring. We're just going to find a way to make more space in the van, because you lose a lot of space because of the way this comes out here. Yeah, there's also a lot of... it's all very hairy. She hasn't shaved in a while, Bessa, has she? Anyway.
What's this up here?
These, so we've actually labelled, so we know, so these are the lights that actually were working. So we've just labelled so we know what the wires are, because we don't want to forget, because they're actually quite useful. This is the GPS thing here, which is kind of weird. This is the vent. So you can see this is, you got the air coming through there. Yeah, the only thing is you get obviously a lot of creatures coming through there and things, because that is the outside world up there. I sound like we're in a spaceship. Outside world. Ooh, radiation of the nation. Okay, so that is it, everyone.
See where all the it's got rusted.
Oh yeah. So they're the sort of bits that we need to seal up then, isn't it? So you wouldn't know all this unless you strip the van, which is why this is so important to do. Because this is when you see any flaws or damage or holes. Because long term that would be a problem. Trying to pull it off.
Whatever they
it's all glue. I bet it's that gorilla stuff, isn't it? Whoever did this didn't do it in a mindset of it being possibly taken apart again, did they?
So one of the next parts of the project was to actually have a look at the floor. I was really concerned about the floor, having the fact that there was actually loads of little holes
in the bottom of the floor. I think this was actually where I either had a table or some sort of like seating arrangement that went right the way through the floor. It looks like it's some sort of timber base underneath the vinyl, and obviously this goes right the way through. You can actually see daylight. Let's have a little look at that. So I don't know whether you can actually see daylight right the way through. So this is all over the van. Lots of little floor holes going right the way through the van. So what I want to do, I want to rip up the floor so we can actually have a look at what's going on underneath. Yeah, a great concern. The last thing I want to do is obviously build on it, and we've got a rotten floor. Obviously with a rotten floor it's going to rust, and ultimately if it rusts then it's going to create a hole in the floor, and no one wants that. So we're going to rip it up and see what we see. So it's as expected. So you can see under here, oh, it's bloody rotten. Look at it, absolutely soaking. You quite easily have just laid on top of that and you'd be absolutely fine, thinking that you'd be okay, but because of those holes it's literally just kicking up water off the road and then going straight into those holes and just creating a rotten base. So obviously it's all going to have to come up, and we've got to insulate it anyway, so better get to it. So tip number one, if you are blessed with having a ply line flooring, make sure you keep hold of it, because that's going to actually come into your advantage later on when it actually comes to recutting the flooring. Saves you having to cut out all these little edges. It's simply going to have to lay down the ply on top of new ply and just draw around it, and then you've got your actual stencil shape, rather than having to cut all these intricate little shapes all the way around the van. Tip number two, make sure you've got plenty of bloody space for your materials. If you're not blessed with a lot of space, then make sure you've got room for it, or you actually buy it when you need it. Otherwise you'll be storing it or trying to store it in stupid places and it's going to get damaged. For example, the insulation sheet, because they're really expensive. So make sure when you buy them you intend to use them very soon after you bought them. Tip number three, if you've got anchor points in your van, it's more than likely you're going to need some WD-40 in order to actually lubricate and loosen up the rusted anchor points. Like with my van, doesn't look like they've been touched since they've actually been manufactured, so they are going to be welded shut. Going to spray some WD-40 onto them. More than likely probably going to have to leave it overnight, but I'm going to give it a go. And WD-40, man's best friend. So I just came to take off the anchor points, and I've just discovered that there is actually a nut underneath the van that is located on the other side of the bolt. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to actually take off the anchor points by myself. I'm going to need a second person. Megan's not with me tonight, so I'm going to have to sack it off, which is really annoying after getting everything out of the van. So I'm going to have to look at something else to do, and hopefully it's not going to be a wasted night. Okay, so I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the trim of the van, which is the aluminium trim that goes around the outside of the van and also around the step area. And then what I'm going to do is actually going to use a Stanley knife to cut the vinyl, and I should be able to actually see like a partition in the flooring where they've actually got two sheets of ply down. So when I'm going to cut around the anchor points, and then that way I've still got a ply bottom, but at least I've actually started ripping up the vinyl, getting to the actual ply itself, because I don't want to damage the ply, because what I want to use that as a stencil to shape around my bit of ply that I'm probably going to get at the weekend. So that's what I'm going to do. So tonight's not going well. So to start with, I have a right-handed glove and another right-handed glove, and yeah, it's not very comfortable. So when it came around to the floor, started ripping it up, and I can't go any further. So I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to get a heat gun, and I'm going to have to heat up the vinyl in order to obviously lift it up and make it a little bit easier. I'm just going to give up tonight. It started down the rain, so I've had to put a tarpaulin up, and decided that, yeah, obviously everything's against me tonight, and I'm trying to do this in pitch black. So yeah, it's time to call it a night, and it's not going to defeat me. All right, here we go.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our video. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our latest projects. Stay tuned for our next video when we strip and replace the floor of our van. Check out my travel inspired art here. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Take care and we'll see you soon.